think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me?
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd?
That there's not another guy in the world that can beat you right now. That's Mayweather level. Head to head at their welterweight primes, Bud versus Floyd. I feel like a lot of us might actually be picking Bud right now. But what he achieved, I cannot put him above Mayweather or Pacquiao because he got these opportunities so late.
That's the problem with Bud's career, right? It bloomed kind of late.
Bud's been the best man for 12 years, but no one gave him credit because he didn't go tell you he was the best man. He didn't market that. He just went out and fought and beat people and knocked people out. So he had to move up and take the bigger fight.
Terence Crawford fired back at Floyd Mayweather's claim that he could beat him. Speaking with confidence, Crawford insisted that even a prime Mayweather wouldn't be able to defeat him. He highlighted that his legacy will be remembered for accepting every challenge that came his way. Crawford pointed out that no one can accuse him of avoiding opponents, as he has consistently stepped in against whoever was willing to fight. He even hinted that if a Mayweather matchup ever became realistic, he wouldn't shy away from it.
Started going like this, and then that's when Floyd started taking over.
What do you want your legacy to be like when your career is all said and done? What do you want people to remember you for?
Oh man, everybody's asking me the question. I always be like, man, it's whatever it's their opinion. Everybody gonna have a different opinion of Terence Crawford, but one thing they can't say is that I ducked anyone. I fought everyone that was available to fight.
Boxing writer Dan Raphael believes Terence Crawford has already reached a stage in his career where he doesn't need to fight again to secure his legacy. According to Raphael, Crawford's achievements speak for themselves, cleaning out divisions, unifying world titles, and defeating elite opponents without ever showing vulnerability. He explains that once a fighter reaches this level, it's less about proving anything and more about protecting what has already been built. Raphael adds that Crawford's resume has already exceeded expectations, and chasing extra fights won't significantly change his place in history. Instead, his dominance in recent years ensures he'll be remembered among boxing's all-time greats.
What does Terence Crawford do now? Like, what's the next thing that he does? Because you look around and go, is the only way that he really gets that ultimate chance if he goes up again? And do you say, what do you do?
I don't quit. Yeah, I mean, he was asked those questions at the press conference. He made two things clear. One, he's not going back to 154, and I say that because some people suggested about possibly pursuing a fight with Ennis, who has his debut in the weight class coming up.
Yeah.
That's probably unlikely. He's not going to go back down in weight. And I mean, no disrespect to Ennis, but Ennis is a guy that's known within the diehards of boxing. He's not in any way known beyond the boundaries of the hardcore boxing fan. So yeah. I don't know if that makes sense for a lot of different reasons for him. Not to say I wouldn't, as a boxing fan, enjoy watching the fight. So, yeah. But I don't think he's going back to 154. He was asked about like a Benavides at 175, and he acknowledged like that guy's really big. I mean, that's maybe a bridge too far. He already went up to 2 weight classes to fight Canelo at 68. So it feels to me like he can either stay at 168 and defend this championship and look to the same types of names that were being thrown around as the types of guys that would have been in the mix for Canelo had he won the fight. And he's going to have mandatories. Obviously, that's the first thing they'll have to look at. I mean, I don't know if he's not going to necessarily keep the belts if he's forced into a mandatory. He doesn't need the belts at this point, but there might be something appealing to him. For example, and Billy had a great fight on the undercard, although he's been ordered to fight a rematch in that fight. Mm-hmm. That was, tight, fight of the year against Lester Martinez, candidate for fight of the year.
The dominant way Terence Crawford dismantled Canelo Alvarez has sparked heated debate across the boxing world. Fans and analysts immediately began comparing his performance to Floyd Mayweather's win over Canelo. The difference, however, lies in timing. Mayweather beat a much younger, less experienced version of Canelo, while Crawford took on a seasoned champion and completely controlled him. Still, analyst Luke Thomas pointed out an important distinction. Floyd became a superstar much earlier in his career, taking on top-level opponents while still young. Crawford's rise, on the other hand, came later, largely due to promotional setbacks and lack of recognition. That means his prime has arrived later than Mayweather's, so even though Crawford's win may appear more dominant in execution, Thomas argues that it doesn't automatically place him above Floyd historically, since career timing and trajectory matter in these comparisons. Legendary trainer Buddy McGirt also weighed in, calling Crawford's performance pure domination. He noted that Canelo never managed to set the pace or impose his usual aggressive style, as Crawford dictated every moment from the opening bell. McGirt insisted there's no need for a rematch because the skill gap was clear for everyone watching. For him, this victory is the crowning moment of Crawford's career, the defining win that cements his legacy. After dismantling Canelo, McGirt believes Crawford has nothing left to prove. His place among boxing legends is secure.
Was a masterclass. One guy with outrageous skill offensively and defensively, simply making another very good fighter look lesser than. This was the other part. The people who watch MMA and then try to watch boxing through an MMA lens, I don't know what to tell you. You're actually missing the point. The kind of specific details and the depth of the technical ability far surpasses even what you can get at the highest level of MMA because they don't have that level of skill. There is no equivalent in MMA to Bud Crawford because there cannot be. Bud is the most talented boxer I've seen since Mayweather.
I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
To be fair to Floyd, he obviously had hand problems in his whole welterweight run, and it's why he took that long stretch off in 2007, 2008, 2009 area, and Floyd's brilliance to be able to be just as great in some ways at that age. We're not here trying to dunk on Floyd. When you get a victory like this, right now, straight up, Luke, you could say that there's not a welterweight, junior middleweight, middleweight, or maybe even super middleweight. When you could say over like a 4-division stretch, Bud, cut down to any of these weights, that there's not another guy in the world that can beat you right now, that's Mayweather level. Head to head at their welterweight primes, Bud versus Floyd, I feel like a lot of us might actually be picking Bud right now. But what he achieved, I cannot put him above Mayweather or Pacquiao because he got these opportunities so late.
That's the problem with Bud's career, right? It bloomed kind of late. I find Bud to be as defensively sound as I've ever seen a fighter. He can find you. There's nowhere to hide with him.
Like Floyd, he has such control over the terms in there. It's just insane.
When comparing Terence Crawford to Floyd Mayweather, analysts often emphasize the mental side of Floyd's game as the element that kept him one step ahead. Crawford is widely recognized as a technical genius, able to switch stances seamlessly, make mid-fight adjustments, and break down opponents with surgical precision. But many argue that Mayweather possessed something beyond skill, an unmatched level of psychological control. Floyd didn't just fight inside the ring physically. He got into his opponents' heads, forcing them to make mistakes, abandon their game plans, and play right into his hands. That ability to dominate both mentally and physically is often cited as the key difference. While Crawford's skill set is undeniable, boxing historians say Floyd's aura of control, his mastery of psychological warfare, is what elevates him to another level. The comparison shows just how close Crawford is to being ranked alongside Floyd, but also why many believe Mayweather's mental edge remains unique in boxing history.
Yes.
Like, what fight were they watching?
Right.
I mean, it's. I don't know, man. I don't know what some of these guys be doing in this game, man. Some people, in situations like that, they should ask them, listen, just turn in your license, bro. Because there's no way in hell the fight was that close.
Right.
I mean, come on, man. It's just, it's not fair. It's not fair. You get a guy like Terence got here and dominate from beginning to end, and then you find out he needed the last 2 rounds to win. That's scary, man.
It is, and you see how you just mentioned scary. Now, a lot of people are saying, buddy, that type of beating, he's not going to want a rematch. But looking at those gold cards and knowing that, hey, you wasn't too far behind, even though, he did mention that, he's better than Mayweather. But, I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you feel like that was such a beating that Canelo wouldn't want a rematch?
No, I think that, in all honesty, personally, I think that Canelo's at that stage in his career right now, that it's a rematch he don't need. He don't need it. You know what I mean? What we saw that night, that's the stage Canelo's at right now. He's fought everybody, he's did everything, but you know what I mean? He passed the torch to the right guy. You know what I mean? He passed the torch to the right guy. You know what I mean? He lost it to Terence fair and square, and he passed the torch. So if you're gonna have another fight, cool, but you don't need to. You have nothing. He has nothing to prove. He fought Terence and nobody else would.
For more than a decade, Terence Crawford has been displaying elite-level skills, but his quiet personality and refusal to embrace showmanship kept him out of the mainstream spotlight. Unlike fighters who thrive on loud self-promotion and theatrics, Crawford chose to let his performances inside the ring do the talking. This earned him respect from boxing purists, yet cost him the global recognition his talent deserved. Only in recent years, with massive victories over Errol Spence Jr. and Canelo Alvarez, has the wider public begun to truly appreciate his greatness. Still, critics argue that this recognition may have come too late. Crawford is now deep into his career, with fewer prime years ahead than behind. While he continues to add to his already impressive legacy, the window for building long-term mainstream superstardom is narrowing. It leaves many wondering, how different would his career narrative have been if he had been given the spotlight much earlier? That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates coming soon.